to bring the vacant home.
Have you seen the little piggies crawling in the dirt? And for all the little piggies, life is getting worse. Always having dirt to play around in.
Excuse me, I'll have to cough in a minute, because you have given me your cough now, don't
Well,
you?
I haven't, because what I do is
You gave me your cough.
No, I don't. I ring fence myself when I have something like that.
No,
and
I wish you had ring fence
I keep
yourself.
away from people. Listen, that song there, right? That was a famous Beatles song.
The Little Piggies.
Yeah. Which featured big in the Charles Manson
It
trial
did.
all those years ago.
Wasn't that supposedly one of the inspirational songs for
Yeah,
it?
that's right. He thought it was a message from John Lennon to go around killing people
Yeah.
who were rich, you
Yeah.
know, which is ludicrous. And John Lennon was asked to appear at the trial.
Yeah.
And, of course, the trial being that of the murder of Sharon Tate, the wife of
Roman Polanski.
Roman Polanski,
Yeah,
that's right.
terrible,
And of course,
awful murder.
Yeah, Lennon said, don't be ridiculous and all that kind of stuff.
But in those days, that fed in, presumably, to the kind of paranoia about the Beatles, because there was plenty of people in America
Yes.
who believed the Beatles were ostensibly evil.
Well,
and
the
if
funny
you played
thing
their
is-
records backwards, there was all that sort of,
Yeah.
devil worshipping and all that nonsense.
Funny thing is, I'm going to tell you later in the show about a guy called Tony Barrow, who sadly has died, and he was the Beatles
Yes,
press officer.
he's the guy I mentioned to you
through
last
the
night,
60s.
right?
He was,
Who
yeah.
I thought you were talking about when you ended up talking about somebody else who died.
and one of the things he had to handle was the famous John Lennon interview with the Evening Standard about we're more popular than Jesus Christ,
Yes.
which didn't go down a storm when
Yeah.
they subsequently went and toured America and the southern states.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, that's by the by. Now,
right.
the reason we're playing that is, according to my scientific journals, children these days are losing their ability. This relates to what you've got now. This
What I've got.
This chest cold and all that kind of
Well,
stuff.
no, what I've got is what you gave me.
Yeah,
From
but-
sitting in here with me, locked in a room,
Yeah.
with no air in it, apart from your germs.
Yeah, but
that's what I've got.
You might have got it from your children.
No,
you see.
I did not get it from my children.
Now, the reason I say that is that what we do these days is we so mollycoddle our children, we keep them so clean, all that kind of stuff. They're not getting soil on their hands from the garden. And this is true. This is true. Children need to play in the garden.
There is some truth to
Yeah.
what you say.
Oh, yeah.
My
And
children,
then-
however, are filthy. Don't worry.
Well, okay, that's fine. And then they need to put their hands near the mouth so that they're picking up like minerals and actually sort of germs really from the soil. Because
Yeah,
it's
but you don't
part
want to
of
start
nature.
advising kids
No,
to
of
go
course I
around
don't.
digging in the dirt
No.
and sticking mud in their face.
No, of course I don't. But what I'm
That
saying
would be
is,
irresponsible.
if kids climb trees, if kids go scrabbling around in fields like they do and all that kind of stuff, right, the fields are
I'll
clean.
show you a picture of one of my kids climbing a tree. If you
Yeah,
like.
that'd be good, yeah. And they need to get this dirt on their hands, and that needs to go into their systems because the microbes in the soil interact with the roots of plants, right?
yeah.
Which produce a natural fertiliser and a chemical called, and I wrote this down because I got it from my polyphenois. No, it is. It's polyphenois.
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 I'm pretty almost certain that's not the way you spell it.
No, it is. It is.
You,
It is.
pronounce it.
It
What's
is.
What's the final syllable?
OIS, polyphenois. And in
Phenois.
return, the soil microbes
Phenois.
break down the soil, give the plants the nutrients they need to flourish, and all this needs to be absorbed into the human body through children's fingers and their tongues to boost their immune system against
Okay.
disease and all this kind of stuff, okay? And it simply isn't happening, and
I
it
see.
should be happening, okay?
Yes. Well, I agree with you that
Yeah.
there are certain things about the world in which we now live, which mean that, because we're now sort of frightened of everything and everything's
Yes.
disinfected,
Yes.
and there isn't any dust anywhere and all
Yes.
of that, people's immune systems are not what they used to be.
Yeah.
But, for example, I mean, one of my kids suffers terribly with hay fever at this time of year.
That's
Because
terrible.
it's tree pollen hay fever.
Yeah, it's horrible,
And
isn't
one
it?
of the
Yeah.
things that they've suggested that you do is actually that you don't hang any of the clothes out to
Yeah.
dry
Yeah.
in the open air.
I see.
That you actually, because that can attract the pollen, that can make it worse.
I see.
But I mean, there's nothing really you can do about that. I don't know. I mean, some people have
No.
suggested if you buy locally made honey, sometimes that can help because
Right.
it's somehow in tune with the environment and all that
Right,
kind of thing.
okay.
But I mean, it's awful, absolutely
Yeah,
horrendous.
it is shocking. Now, the other thing I found, it also, by the way, when you get older, if you've got these microbes in your body from your immune system, it does help you fight the stress of life.
Yes. No, I think there's some truth to that.
It is. Microorganisms in our bodies play a vital role regulating our immune system and can help to reduce inflammation, both physical and mental.
But I think you got your disease that you've had now
Yeah.
for almost 3 weeks from probably travelling on public transport.
May have
You can
done.
get that as well.
May have done. But our diets have changed, leaving fewer nutrients available to gut bacteria.
Oh, yeah.
And without these old friends, as they're called by science, it's helping to regulate the immune system.
Old friends, did you say?
Yeah, friends.
I thought you suddenly just developed a speech impediment.
No. I don't have a speech impediment. We are left at high
Talk about
risk.
old cobblers.
Yes, absolutely. We are left at high risk of inflammatory diseases and psychiatric disorders.
Yeah.
Now, that's one thing I found in my medical journals today. Another one I found, which is really, really helpful.
Yeah.
Do you know that we have now developed something which will help people like myself who get muscle joints and all this?
Muscle joint what?
Well, I
Pain.
get muscle joint pain when I work across the North Downs, but now I can now go out and buy a pair of mechanical trousers, which
What,
help.
like Wallace and Gromit?
Yes, exactly like Wallace and Gromit, which help you walk. Okay.
Yeah.
Which help you walk. Honest to God.
Can you cover them in tin foil while you're at it?
No, you fool. That's for our live shows. But what happens is you strap these trousers on. They've got electrodes which go into your calf muscles and all that, and they honestly give you a boost. The suit works using fabric rather than metal. Calf and hip straps attached to a motor under the backpack, which effectively acts as an external tendon on your leg. The purpose is not to automate walking, but to give a little assistance to speed people along. It's like having a little downwards incline and the wind at your back, says Connor Walsh, who's the Harvard University professor who's invented it. Isn't that brilliant?
I mean, how do they work? Are they actually somehow supporting your legs? Is that what you're saying?
Yes. They're discreet enough to hide under a pair of baggy waterproofs, so, you would look like you were going fishing or something, right?
Oh, so you wear them underneath other trousers?
Yes.
Right.
The scientists have designed the fabric. It's called the exosuit.
Oh, that's good. What, size X, presumably?
No, exo as in, extrapolis from your body, you know what I mean?
Extrapolis?
Yeah. And
I thought they had straps.
guess
though.
where all the research came from?
Harvard.
No, well, Harvard, yes, but funded by the US Defence Department.
Oh, yeah.
Who wanted it designed so that soldiers could carry heavier packs on the battlefield.
Okay.
You see what I mean?
Right.
That's what it's all about.
So you're going to get some of these then?
Oh, definitely. I am. I'm going to get a pair. As soon as they're available in this country, I'm going to get the first ever pair, and I'm going to go walking across the North Downs. You can put 2 miles an hour on the pace of the way you walk, and they're brilliant. They're brilliant.
How much do they cost?
Oh, probably thousands, I would think. The
Don't you know?
early pairs. I
Are
don't know.
Are these like prototypes?
Yeah,
can buy?
they're prototypes.
Can you buy them?
Yeah, of course you can buy them. Of course you can buy them. They're going to be available soon.
Will you be able to put them on a clothes horse is the big question.
Don't be ridiculous, I'm not answering that question. But this is all revealed in one of my journals, which actually is called the Journal of Neuroengineering and Rehabilitation. Sorry, why do you find that funny?
How fantastic
Well,
it must be when that comes through the door every week.
Well, I'm sorry.
Is it
but
weekly or quarterly or what is it?
It's quarterly, and if I'm acquiring knowledge like that, then I would say that, your mockery of everything that I...
Well, it's not knowledge that's of any use, because you can't buy them.
It's fantastic.
You can't buy
definitely
them.
Useful.
No, you can't buy them. You can't go down to your local, co-op or co-op.
I can order them.
Order them from where?
Well, order them from the people who are making them, because they're going to be available
well, I want you to
commercially.
Get some. I want you to get some. I want to see them on you.
I
think
going
our fans would, of necessity, want to see you dressed up in a pair of the wrong trousers.
It increases your walking ability by 25%.
But does it mean you can walk quicker or just further?
It means you can walk. I'll tell you what it's like. It's been described to me because I've done some research on it. You know when you're on a walker-lator in an airport or something like that. What's it called?
A travelator.
Travelator in an airport. Well, the thing that moves while and you bounce on it.
Well, you don't bounce on it.
Well, I do.
Why?
I find this has a bouncy effect.
You're supposed to walk on it. You're not supposed to stand still.
No, I walk on it. And what I'm saying is my footsteps appear to sort of bounce on it, really, because that's the effect it gives me.
Yeah, you do feel that you're walking very quickly.
Yes, that's right. And that's the effect it gives you. That's the effect it gives you. So, all that is brilliant. I think this is a major, major breakthrough.
Well, I think you should definitely get hold of some.
I'm going to.
Do they do different colours? You can get some purple ones.
No. There's no...
to match all your other trousers.
No, there's no colours involved.
Right.
No colours involved.
Now, let me read you a quick tweet that I've got from Andy.
Okay.
Who's referencing Ask Porky, which is, of course, coming up a little bit later on in the show. He says, Dear Mike Graham, can I just quickly thank Mike Parry? Around February, I asked him to help on Ask Porky to choose between women, as I was speaking to two at once. Yes. With his help, I revealed my infidelities and am now happily engaged to my new mistress.
Excellent. That's brilliant. Well done. That means, of course, that if you're engaged to your new mistress, the famous Jimmy Goldsmith quote is now in effect, and that is that when you engage or marry your mistress, you have created a vacancy.
Yes, exactly. Mark says this, Pickies was a George Harrison song sung by George Harrison, not John Lennon.
Let me just think of this in my head. Have you seen
the main song Manson blamed the Beatles for was Helter Skelter? That's true.
That is true,
which is written by Paul. But the Piggy song was also quoted in the trial.
And actually, I don't think George Harrison did sing it. Have you seen the...
Well, Don seems pretty certain about that.
Have you seen the little piggies?
It sounds like George Harrison, to be honest.
Could be. Could well be.
I think you're absolutely wrong.
Okay, I'll concede on that one. Yeah.
Glenn Arnold says, has old Porky taken happy pills? He's not rising to your bait. Is this the calm before the storm, MG?
What bait?
I'm not giving you any bait.
No, I don't think
you are.
A
conversation.
I don't think you are, no.
You know, I was very touched by Porky's sort of mission earlier on in the day on Twitter to silence these morons who've been making a nuisance of themselves.
That's right. By the way, I have another science journal. It's called Cognitive and Effective Neuroscience, right,
good.
which is another great one.
Another great one.
And guess what I found out in that?
I don't know. Can't imagine.
Right. Supposing you're at home and you and the mother of your children are sitting there watching telly, but she has a headache.
Yes.
You could help her solve it by taking paracetamol.
What?
You take the paracetamol.
Well, I take it?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And how does that help?
It helps because on a level of sort of what's the word I'm looking for?
I've got lots of cures for headaches.
No. It works because you are sharing her pain,
right?
And then you take the paracetamol, and as the paracetamol
didn't
starts
work very well during childbirth.
that's excessive, isn't it? But
no, it should work on everything.
No. And as you're sitting there, you say, right, I've taken the paracetamol. Now I feel it coursing around my body. You know, can you feel the effects and all this kind of stuff? And then psychologically, she starts to feel much better because you are giving 50% of your own physical well-being to her to try and improve hers. That's how it works.
Yeah.
It does work,
honestly. Yeah,
well,
that's psychosomatic illnesses that could fix,
20 million courses of paracetamol.
Well, maybe you could help me then. By you sniffing eucalyptus, maybe that will, over the course of this show, clear my lungs.
Yeah, OK, I'll do that. Scientists have found that paracetamol can dull the ability to sense pain and suffering in others, OK?
That's rubbish.
No,
it is complete rubbish.
It is not. It's a scientific fact.
No, it is not a scientific fact.
It is a scientific fact.
It is not a scientific fact, and I don't think you should sort of represent it as such.
Well, hang on. It's in my journal of social, cognitive and effective neuroscience. They're not idiots, you know.
They're not
the
idiots,
people who write these
but
things.
They're not dealing with facts. They're dealing with theories.
Well, everything's a theory. Penicillin was a theory to start off with.
It's not a theory now, is it?
No, it's not a theory now. It's an absolute fact. Got rid of my cold, actually. You should try and go and get some.
Well, it would do.
Howling around your kitchen door. You better not let him in. Little old lady got mutilated late last night. Werewolves of London again.
Werewolves of London, you know that song? Must have heard that before.
No, I haven't actually.
No? By Warren Zevon.
The biggest connection I've got to werewolves is An American Werewolf in London.
Yes.
And the song most prominent in that was Manchester City's song, Blue Moon.
Blue Moon, yeah.
Yep.
Well, they also did the Van Morrison song as well, didn't they?
Which one?
Moon Dance as well.
Moon Dance, I think they did. I think
that
you're
was
right.
the scene with Jenny Agutter that I remember quite well.
Oh,
I seem to remember.
That was rather
risque, you might say.
Flirtatious.
Yeah. Well, we're going to talk to Josh Warren in a second, who's a paranormal expert, because they've spotted a werewolf up in Hull.
Well, they haven't spotted one. They think it's back on the rampage.
Well, no, people have seen it.
Oh, it's been around for years.
No, people have seen it.
I'm not sure
about
that.
They say the sightings are evidence of a mythical Yorkshire beast called Old Stinker.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
But a couple of tweets first. One from Buzz, who says, can you please let me know the electrical retailer that cleans toasters for £15?
Yeah, that's right.
And Sandra says, 15 quid to clean a toaster. You can buy a new one for less. You plank.
Yeah, I think you can, actually. I was in Asda the other day, as you know, shopping for
I don't know where you were
source.
shopping, because you were shopping in Asda for a clothes source, then you were in BHS, then you can go in BHS, then you were in Marks and Spencer's.
And Debenhams.
Then you were in Debenhams.
Yeah,
then you spend your some kind of shopaholic.
No, but you can get an iron now, steam iron, for 12 quid in Asda.
Well, that's not going to toast your bread, is it?
Well, no, but I mean, the toasters are about the same price.
And how would you steam clean a steam iron if you wanted to put it back in its box?
What you have to do is you have to make sure that you get rid of all the gunge which secretes itself in the little porous holes on the base. Yeah, I like to do that.
I think it made more sense to talk about werewolves.
Yeah.
Josh, very good morning to you. Welcome to the show.
Well, thank you. Great to be with you.
Thank you very much.
Now, you've probably heard stories about werewolves up and down the land in places in Europe or in places in the United States. I mean, there's no such thing as a werewolf, is there?
Well, people see all kinds of big sort of human/wolf-looking creatures. But you're right, the definition of werewolf gets a little bit tricky. When it comes to this particular case of this werewolf seen around Hull, I mean, if we are to presume that there is such a creature, that is to mean that people aren't misinterpreting what they're seeing or lying, then there are only three real possibilities here. One is that this is some kind of a flesh and blood, organic, biological creature, which is highly unlikely because we're pretty good at finding those things and catching them and finding evidence. Option number two is this is some kind of a phantasm, an apparition, a ghostly-looking thing. But that's also kind of unlikely because supposedly he's been seen eating things like a German Shepherd dog. Right. And so that leaves us with option number three is that maybe this is some kind of an interdimensional being, which is partly physical, partly non-physical. But while it's here in this plane, it very much behaves like any other beast would.
What is the origins of the mystique of the werewolf then, please, Josh? Is it something that's based on partial fact from, I don't know, the days of Indian reservations or something like that?
Well, if you look back historically, there are a number of occasions, especially during the Middle Ages, when people have believed that those dabbling in witchcraft had the ability to consume human flesh and then take on some kind of beastly power that allowed them to shapeshift or change into some other kind of a creature. Yeah. But, if you consider your area in particular, I mean, if you look at, say, the area around Hull, about 160 miles south of that is a town called Bungay. And in 1577, an incredible incident happened there. A big dog called a hellhound or a black dog, I think Old Shuck is a name that is often applied. It rampaged a church and killed 3 people, tore them to bits, scorched the doorway on its way out. And this is some kind of a creature that looks familiar enough to call a dog, but obviously doesn't seem to be of this realm. And so, again, we're looking at maybe a pattern of beings that are, again, interdimensional type animals rather than what you might think of strictly as a werewolf.
Isn't it also, Josh, though, that people describe things? I mean, we're both former news reporters and journalists, and people often describe things that they see in a way which bears no resemblance to what they actually saw. And sometimes, depending on the light, the shadows from the moon, I mean, people describing something that looks like a half-man, sort of half-beast creature attacking a German Shepherd. I mean, it could be maybe that it's a big cat of some kind that we have roaming around in parts of this country.
Well, that's certainly possible. We can't discount the fact that we do have zoos. We do have people who legally hold these exotic animals at their homes, and sometimes they escape. I mean, for example, in the U.S. state of Florida, you can expect to find almost anything out there at night because you have a lot of these carnivals and zoos that have retired there, and you have people who are infamous for buying, lions and tigers and snakes, and you name it, and they escape. And so, sure enough, you have somebody in an area that sees a creature that's unfamiliar. They're liable to, in their state of terror, describe it in the most exaggerated way.
Yeah, indeed. Josh, is there any connection between werewolves, if they exist, and zombies?
Werewolves?
Yeah, because, of course, there was the most famous example of a werewolf that we know of is in Michael Jackson's Thriller video, the biggest selling video of all time.
Well, no, I wouldn't say that. I would say the werewolf movies, like with Lon Chaney.
Well, I'd say the Michael Jackson one was very, very famous around the world, and, of course, that invoked zombies to reappear in graveyards from the depths of their graves.
Sorry.
Well, it did.
Go ahead, Josh.
Well, there's a part of especially European lore that we can date back to, probably around 100 A.D. Regarding vampires and how the vampires might actually be able to, when killed, turn into werewolves, or vice versa. A werewolf killed can turn into a vampire. And, of course, one thing that these two creatures have in common is they both can be defeated with silver. So you have silver bullets for werewolves. You have silver crosses for vampires. But the point being, the vampiric tradition comes from this idea that when you die and you're buried in the ground, that there may be some way that your body can become reanimated and reawakened and then come back to feed. And whether it does it in a vampiric form or in that beastly werewolf form, you could say either way, we're sort of talking about a zombie-like tradition.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now, you've written books, and you continue to write books, Joshua, I'm sure, some of which are novels, some of which are based on fact and that kind of thing. I mean, is there not just more to do with, as I've mentioned before, people's kind of fascination? They want to believe that there is something supernatural out there. They want to somehow think that there is something that can't be explained because maybe the real explanation is a little bit too scary.
Oh, sure. Well, the imagination always tends to run wild, especially when it is fueled by show business and movies like the one you mentioned there, An American Werewolf in London. And sometimes you find when you have these fantastic reports that just recently there has been some kind of a movie featuring a similar creature. And so that might be a bit much for coincidence. On the other hand, fortunately, we now live in a day and age where people are running around with cameras, and we are getting a surprising number of images of these types of weird little creatures, and not just from civilians. I mean, sometimes I talk to policemen and wildlife officers, and their dash cams capture these unexplainable figures. And so I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens when these locals go out during the full moon to see if they can get this thing on camera. And if we get a look at it, well, then that's going to be a game changer.
Yeah, but that'll never happen, you see, Josh, because as my colleague has said, we've worked in newspapers, tabloid newspapers in this country 25 or 30 years, and all of us have done these stories about the beast of Bodmin Moor and, some like huge animal stalking around South Wales or something like that. And in fact, they don't exist. They're literally just shadows in the night and tricks of photography, a bit like the Loch Ness Monster. If they existed, by now, one of them would have died and we'd have found the carcass of one. And we never have done. They don't exist. It's all mythical.
Well, you see, that in fact is the case if we're talking about a normal biological organism.
Yeah.
But if we are talking about something that doesn't fit within the parameters.
Oh, you're talking about
like a spirit or some kind.
Yeah, like Bram Stoker's Dracula, which was in fact a vapour, wasn't it, rather than a bodily form.
Well, in general, you have this idea that maybe there are other dimensions out there, as mathematicians tell us, and that life might sometimes exist within these other dimensions, and we can't really even comprehend exactly what those dimensions are, not to suggest what we would know what is in those dimensions.
No, I understand that.
And so if there is some type of a creature that could exist in another dimension but occasionally make an appearance here, that's the only way that you can look at it skeptically and logically and say, okay, maybe there is some type of an organism that is here once in a while, but then in the snap of the finger, it just disappears.
Exactly. Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Dr. Jekyll.
Yeah.
And Mr. Hyde.
Absolutely.
One last question, Josh. There's a full moon here in a couple of days. Should there be any reason for people in Hull to be more convinced or concerned that might be more a dangerous time?
Well, regardless of what this thing is, we know that these creatures tend to prowl a little bit more when there is more light shining across the countryside. It's a logical thing. Most people seem to get out and explore the outdoors at night when there's more light to see by. So, yeah, if someone has reason to believe that this beast is prowling around, then you might want to stay indoors that night.
Mm-hmm. Very wise indeed. Josh, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much indeed.
Paranormal expert telling us about what he thinks of the werewolf of Hull.
So he says that actually, although we've never seen the carcass of the werewolf, that's because actually the werewolf changes into something else.
Yes.
And therefore when we kill it, it's not dead as a werewolf.
Well, it may not actually die. It's a werewolf.
Yeah.
Why do you keep saying werewolf?
Because that's how I pronounce werewolf.
Well, it's not werewolf.
It is werewolf.
It's werewolf.
It's not. Michael Jackson's video was werewolf.
No, it's not W-E-I-R. It's W-E-R-E.
Yes, I know. That's werewolf.
Now, let's pick at some listography, shall we?
Yes, that's right.
So you can, as ever, choose one of these. Let's see. Mark suggests, what are your 3 favourite tinned vegetables?
Okay.
Which is one you can think about.
Right.
Steve says, name 3 naff gifts you have received and what did you do with them?
Right.
Name 3 things you would like reincarnated as, not yourself. What is your favourite day, Monday, Friday or Christmas Day?
Right.
Well, I guess you could have any of those.
Yes.
So 3 reasons to be cheerful, 3 best sporting moments, 3 favourite London restaurants,
Right.
3 favourite insults for each other.
Yes.
If you ran the country, name 3 things you'd change.
Yep.
And I think the others go back to yesterday, which we haven't done. Yeah, it
right.
goes back to
Okay.
3 favourite Too Much shows. So which one of those? Do you remember all of those?
Yeah, I remember all those. What about 3 things we do to change the country for the better?
Okay.
Do you want to do that?
We could do that.
Okay.
We'll do that coming up in not the next section,
Yep.
but the one after.
Okay, that's good.
Because we'll need to have some time, obviously, for that.
No. I know immediately. I know my own mind, mate.
Well,
Don't worry about
all right.
that.
What do you want to do now?
No. We'll do them when you're ready. We'd set it up for the audience to be able to plug their lug holes in, so to speak. Okay.
Theodora says, "Why are you being nice to each other and agreeing with each other?"
What are we? I didn't
planks.
realise we were.
Well, I don't think we are. No,
Yeah, not necessarily.
Not specifically.
No.
Woodenhead says, "I spotted a boneheaded whale. His name is Mike Parry."
Oh, that's very nice, isn't it?
It's not very nice, is it?
Yeah, not very nice at all.
Yeah. Abdul says, "Jim is quite clueless. I will say we make fun of everyone here. The extra time family, thus we do." Mm-hmm. So he's addressing Jim there, who was moaning earlier about us making fun of Louis Van Gaal. Some very good Ask Porkies are coming in as well.
Really?
And,
well, don't tell me, because that's obviously for later.
No, that's later.
Yes.
Steve says it would be great to see Sheffield Wednesday back in the Premier League. They have the setup and could retain status.
Yeah, but I don't think they will get back in. I think Hull are so much a better team, even though they very nearly blew it, didn't they? You know, losing 2 goals there.
They did. Adrian says, BHS are stocked up on the latest fashions. They have blue shirts, Mr. Parry.
Who?
Blue shirts.
Yeah, no, they're blue
Well, that's
shirts.
all you wear, isn't it?
No, not necessarily. What colour's this shirt? Grey. A grey pinstripe.
It's
which
not
is rather
a pinstripe,
nice, isn't it?
No, and it's not rather nice at all. It's hideous, actually.
What do you mean?
And it seems to be made of some rather odd sort of thick material. You wear these kind of thick material shirts.
No.
What's it made of?
They're called brushed velveteen.
Brushed velveteen?
Yeah.
What, have you ever, like the velveteen rabbit?
No. They're quality.
Why are
it's
you
quality.
wearing a brushed velveteen? What do you do? Something this is from the Elvis impersonator shop.
No. It's quality material. That's all.
It's
That's
not
all you
at
need
all.
to know.
It is not.
It's all you need to
Jason
know.
says, that's made my day. Porky's back Seville. Lump on Liverpool.
Well-
Hashtag Porky Jinx.
Well, no, I do honestly hope Liverpool win, but I think Seville have just got that bit of sort of European nous, that may get them through.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Kevin says, how about a quiz on rugby? The rugby correspondent should nail it. We need to do a quiz, actually. Doesn't have to be on rugby.
Right, you're talking about quiz for this week. Now, let me see. What are some of the subjects that we've thought
Well,
about?
we were before we did Top Gun last week.
Yes.
For some reason, you wanted to do a quiz on pirates. I can't remember why.
No, I didn't, actually. We've done one on pirates.
No,
Don't
we
you remember Blackbeard and all that?
I don't think we have.
I think we have.
We might have done one on Blackbeard, but I don't think we've done one on pirates.
All right, we'll do one on pirates then.
Want
That
to do
suits me.
pirates?
Yeah,
we have to
pirates.
have a reason, though. There must have been a reason why last week you wanted to do one on pirates.
Well, I think it must have been like
it's
the
not
400th...
sure it's not Pilates you want to do one.
No. I think it was the 400th anniversary
we
of
got the letter wrong again.
Captain Morgan or something like that. You know what I mean?
All right.
I'm sure it was. I'm sure I read that somewhere.
Okay.
So it seems to me like a good subject.
And,
Okay.
Milky Kevin Warwick says, at
Yep.
Coventry City and Wasps share ground.
Coventry City and Wasps, do
And
they?
Charlie, who's pounding the tarmac, says the Ospreys Rugby Club share the Liberty Stadium alongside Swansea.
Yeah, of course they do. That's right.
Bristol City and Bristol RFU share as well.
Yeah. By the way, whatever happened to that guy? Who was the sort of pin-up boy who played for Ospreys? Gavin Henson.
Gavin Henson.
Yeah, what's happened to
Well,
him?
he was the guy that married Charlotte Church, wasn't he?
Yeah. But then they.
Well, he was
they
a bit
separated.
like your man who's always getting in and out of the England squad here.
Yeah.
Who used to go out with Kelly Brook.
Kelly Brook.
Cipriani.
Oh yeah, Cipriani. Yeah.
He was a bit like him. I mean, he became such a kind of
Socialite.
legend in his own world.
That's right. Yeah.
That people just kind of used to. I used to watch him play rugby for Wales.
Yeah.
And every single player was just out to kill him.
Really?
Including
Yeah.
most of his own team.
Really?
Because they just didn't like the guy.
No, exactly.
Because he was, tanned and,
Yeah,
and
that's
very,
right, yeah.
good-looking,
Yeah.
sculpted.
What do they call those sort of guys?
Adonis.
No, not Adonis.
A donut.
No, don't they call them like, when they're trying to be sort of like Ronaldo-like, if you know what I mean? What are they called?
Pin-ups, you mean?
No,
Divas?
not pin-ups, not divas.
I think I know what you mean. I think I know what you mean.
Almost like cross-sexual sort of thing.
Cross-sexuals?
Yeah, what am I
You
talking
mean
about?
metrosexuals?
Yeah, the metro, that's right. The metrosexual, that's right, yeah.
Cross-sexual something else.
Yeah, is it okay?
Yeah.
Now,
Madonna
listen,
made a video about that.
Hey?
Madonna made a video about that.
Did she? Okay, yeah, fine. Now listen, I've received some information from the Institute of Public Affairs.
Have you?
And it's what's your problem?
What sort of information?
Hey?
And how did you get it?
Well, it doesn't matter how I got it, but I found out how long it takes litter to degenerate. Right?
Yeah.
Now then, you will not believe this. You will not believe this.
Well, it depends on the litter, doesn't it?
A crisp bag can take 33 years
Well,
to
of course
fade
I
away.
believe that, because it's made of plastic.
To fade away.
Well, it's made of it doesn't fade away. It's made of plastic. It never fades away.
I mean, you wouldn't believe some of the things I can tell you.
I will believe all of them.
How long do you think it takes a discarded can of a soft fizzy drink to degenerate altogether?
Do you mean to decompose?
I mean to rot away.
To rot away to nothing?
Yes.
100 years?
200 years.
Oh, it's not bad, though.
Plastic,
close.
Plastic bottle.
Yeah, half a point for that.
Plastic bottle, 500 years. Yeah. Glass jars.
Yeah.
2 million years.
Well, funnily enough, glass is actually not quite in the same bracket as things like plastic and metal, because glass is actually forged from sand, isn't it?
Yes, but if you want...
So if you smashed it up,
yes,
it would presumably go back into another form quicker.
Except that a smashed-up bottle looks hideously horrible if it's a smashed beer bottle or something like that.
Well, that depends where it is, though.
Well, if it's in the street, it looks revolting.
Yeah, things are not going to line the street for 500 years, are they? Unless your council's particularly bad at clearing it up.
Now, some of these actually really, really shocked me. Orange peel. Yeah. Right? And I eat an awful lot of oranges.
You were going to make shoes out of oranges once,
well, they do in Africa, in poorer parts of Africa.
I thought it was in Romania, you said.
Well, they picked it up in Romania.
What was
I remember
it? You some bet you were going to...
No.
If something happened, you were going to make a pair of shoes out of orange peel.
No, I wasn't. What I said is, in poorer parts of the world, people use orange peel, they bake it in ovens, and they use it as leather to make shoes. And they stitch it together, and people walk around in orange peel shoes because they can't afford leather. But
the process itself would be quite expensive.
It takes orange peel 2 years to rot away. That's the same.
Does that depend on whether you baked it first?
Yeah, it would do. Yeah.
Well, if you bake it, presumably it lasts longer.
It does last longer. That's why they bake them and make shoes out of them. Now,
how do you make it into the shape, though?
Well, an orange is round, so you can shape it towards the round part of a child's foot. Round the heel, around the toes.
Yeah, but when you peel an orange, you haven't got a round piece of peel, have you?
Well, you have if you take it off in one. I can peel an orange in one without breaking the skin.
I bet you can't.
I can.
What do you mean without breaking the skin?
Well, I mean, without the skin...
How do you break it, then?
Well, we're keeping the skin in one piece.
Yeah?
I can take...
I'd like to see that done on video. I'm sure lots of other people would as well.
I can do that easy.
Maybe we'll make a video this week of that.
Yeah, that's fine.
Porky peels an orange in one piece.
Yes, I can. I can pork it in one... I can peel it in one piece. I'm going to say pork it, then. Peel it in one piece.
Yeah, is that the secret?
That's right. And without breaking it into several pieces. It's easy.
Yeah, but even then, it doesn't look anything like the shape of a shoe.
No, well,
how on earth do you stitch it together? Do you stitch it? Do you sew it?
No, then you'd cut it into strips, and then you just stitch the strips together to make a shoe. It's easy.
Easy?
Yeah, it is easy.
You think you could make us a shoe out of an orange peel?
Well, if I peeled several big oranges, I could make a pair of shoes.
Well, maybe we do two videos then.
Okay.
The first one you could be peeling oranges.
Yes.
Then the second one you could be making shoes.
I'll make a shoe, yeah, okay.
Tremendous.
Now, let me
see the time.
No, but let me tell you things here you don't know. An apple core, 2 weeks.
Right.
Paper towels, paper bags, 1 month.
Uh-huh.
A cereal box.
Yeah.
And a banana skin, 6 weeks.
Oh, yeah?
2 to 3 months.
What about cigarette end?
Eh?
What about cigarette end?
I've just told you.
You just told me about cigarette end.
I did.
No, you didn't.
You
mentioned cigarette ends.
Hang on. I think
you told me about bananas.
6 weeks.
6 weeks?
No, hang on. I've found it here somewhere. By the way, a car tyre, a tin can, a pair of trainers, 50 years. 50 years, okay? Orange peel, 2 years. I've told you that. Yes, cigarette ends, 2 years. Okay?
How long does it take you to read this out?
No. Cotton clothing such as T-shirts, 6 months, all right?
Well, who throws out T-shirts in the road?
Well, they do end up on the road. Children throw them out of cars accidentally and all that kind of stuff.
They
problem. They do.
They do not
they
throw...
Do.
My children have never thrown a T-shirt out of a car accidentally.
They get lost, honestly.
And I got 4 of them.
Wool decomposes because it releases into the soil useful nutrients such as keratin.
Keratin?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You get them in shampoo.
10 to 20 years, plastic bags. Wow. So they are. Crisp packet, 80 years.
Anne Boleyn lost her head 480 years ago in 1536.
Yeah.
And T.E. Lawrence died 81 years ago in 1935, both on this day, May the 19th.
No, that's true, absolutely. I found that in one of the journals that I read. And
we could have done a quiz on T.E. Lawrence if we'd known that, couldn't we?
Well, yeah, I suppose so. But T.E. Lawrence, sadly, didn't die on a battlefield. He died when his...
On a motorbike.
The gearbox of his motorbike seized up, and he went flying off the bike over a hedge into a field and got killed, I'm afraid.
Yeah, I know.
His bike ran into a tree.
A friend of mine's running a campaign at the moment, actually. I don't know if it's his birthplace or his place of death or where he's buried, but there's a big row going on in this little town in the West Country.
Yes.
Because they want to build a massive quarry where where this little village is, and basically it's going to ruin the whole village.
What, T. Lawrence Village?
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, I think it's either his birthplace or it's the place where he's buried. I'm not quite sure. It's somewhere down in Dorset.
What did you think of the film Lawrence of Arabia?
I thought it was brilliant.
Did you?
I love Lawrence of Arabia. I saw it for the first time I remember it as a child because we went to, in those days, one of those big cinemas in the West End.
Yes.
You know, it was in the Empire in Leicester Square or something, and you saw it on the big screen. And in those days, seeing a film on the big screen, because you had such a small little black and white TV,
that's right,
was amazing.
It was amazing.
And it was literally mind-blowing, and it's a fantastic film. Love Peter O'Toole.
Do you know the first one I saw on the big screen like that, which had that effect on me?
What?
We're all going on a summer holiday.
So what you're
no more working
now, hang on.
for a week or two.
So you're now equating Lawrence of Arabia, one of the greatest films ever made, with Cliff Richard's Summer Holiday.
That's right, Summer Holiday, yeah.
God's sake.
Well, no, what I'm saying is it's had the same effect on me. Well, because
Summer Holiday was in black and white for a start.
No, it wasn't. It was in colour.
Are you sure?
I'm certain, because you know what? One of the lines in the film is, "We're going where the sun shines brightly."
Well, it doesn't tell you it's in colour.
We're going where the sea is blue.
Compare that to Lawrence of Arabia.
Sea is blue, and then eventually they got into Greece or somewhere on this bus.
Sing a song about colour without it being in colour.
They got into Greece on this bus, and the sea was very, very blue. But also, I remember the bus being so red. So it must have been in colour. Yeah,
a bit like your hair. At the time.
Yeah, it was actually. Yeah, it was. Funny enough, you should say that. Yeah. Right now, then. Yes, I told you I was going to tell you about.
This is from Tony. Right, he says, "Can you explain why the Dad's Army remake was trash, please? I hope giving my car parking up for filming wasn't in vain."
Giving my car parking up for filming?
Yeah, I don't know what that means.
I don't
know whether Tony's involved in the film.
Filmed it locally or something like that.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, it
just was rubbish because it wasn't about. It wasn't clever. It wasn't an improvement on the series.
No,
it was actually a disimprovement.
Of course, it was. It rubbished the original. When you get the originals like that, and you think of the social sort of circumstances of those days when they were made and all that kind of stuff, you can't possibly replicate them.
No, you can't.
And the only thing that's ever kept up, funnily enough, is the James Bond films, because they've matured and changed over the years.
Yeah.
But,
and some remakes of films can work, but generally speaking, if you take a whole series of films like the Carry On films, which were of a certain time, I don't think there's any point in trying to replicate any of it.
No, I totally agree.
Really stupid.
I totally agree.
Now, Jim in Scotland has sent this in.
Jimmy in Scotland.
Reasons to be cheerful. One, having Mike Parry as a witness when you are to blame for a traffic accident, because he just does a runner. Two, Mike Parry believing in werewolves. And three, knowing you won't be harpooned by the Japanese whaling fleet because Mike Parry is stranded on a beach somewhere else in the world.
Oh, that's very nice, isn't it? Yeah, okay.
Again, it's a compliment, I think.
Well, I suppose so, in a way. Now then, I was telling you about crime before, wasn't I?
Yes, you were.
Crime, yeah.
Because the reason I was going to mention the Queen's speech yesterday was a lot of people have been moaning about it's been watered down and nothing really new has come out because they're all in a holding pattern waiting for the referendum, which is only about, 3-4 weeks away or something like that?
Yeah, well, that's right, yeah.
But there was stuff about prisons, weren't there? Because we were talking about prisons the other day.
Yes.
And about how there's probably going to be some kind of... strike in prisons coming up soon.
Yes, that's right, yeah, because I've seen a lot of prison officers moaning, and they may have justification in moaning, so I'm not accusing them of being, bad moaners. They might be good moaners, because there might be something wrong.
What's the definition of a bad moaner, then?
Well, a bad moaner is just sort of making trouble. A good moaner is actually bringing to the public attention, highlighting some problems which could cause a ruction in society.
Yes.
But a lot of prison officers that you hear from these days are saying there's not enough prison officers to man the prisons.
And a lot of the prisons are very old and cramped.
And wasn't part of the Queen's speech about releasing a load of prisoners at weekends and all this kind of stuff?
Well, I think that's part of the plan, isn't it?
Yeah. Now, talking about crimes and all that kind of stuff, right?
There's going to be more art as well and drama in jail.
What?
More art and drama.
What do you mean?
Jail. There's going to have more opportunities to do more art and drama.
Well, I suppose if I was sentenced to a long period of time in jail, I'd want to do something.
For general gerrymandering.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, I'd want to do something to take my mind off it. So I'd do something like try and learn Japanese or something. You know what I mean?
Well, alongside the Queen's speech, this is from Michael Gove. Right?
Oh, yeah.
He says they should have a chance to paint, stage plays and play instruments to build their self-esteem.
Yeah, I'd like to learn the guitar, and I'd find out if I ever could have been John Lennon, really, I suppose, because you wouldn't have much else to do, would you?
Give a guy in prison a guitar, he's more likely to hit somebody over the head with it, isn't he?
Well, I think the thing is, haven't they banned guitars because prisoners were prone to taking the strings off and using them to attack other prisoners?
Yeah, garrotte people.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, well, that's the problem. They're very inventive people
Yeah, they
in
are.
prison.
They are, yeah.
Imagine you give them an electric guitar, they'd probably wire somebody up to it.
Yeah, probably. And they turn, toothbrushes into plastic spears, don't they? And then go around gouging people's eyes out and that sort of thing.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
very pleasant, is it?
No, it's not nice.
No. Anyway, what I was going to say is, never mind that, never mind prison. Do you know what I mean when I say, do you have enough moral fibre to admit your guilty displeasures?
My guilty displeasures? Well, yeah, I do. To myself, but I'm not necessarily going to.
Well, this is what I mean.
This is what I mean. Now.
This is what I mean. You see, we all know the expression guilty pleasures.
Yes.
It's this stupid expression about, what are you guilty about? You say, I eat a box of Smarties every Saturday night. You know, how pathetic is all that?
Never go out with a woman who thinks that's a guilty pleasure.
Exactly. Now, what I would say is, I equate the expression guilty displeasure to the famous expression from the great American president, Franklin D. Roosevelt.
Oh, yeah.
Never mind the man who can stand up to his enemies. Give me the man who can stand up to his friends.
That's a very good quote, that.
It's a brilliant quote, OK? And I like that because what guilty displeasures are...
But you see, the only thing I would say, I'll wait for you to explain in a minute, but I mean, I'm not guilty, as I've said to you before, about anything. Guilt is not something that I feel.
No, OK, good.
I don't feel guilt.
Good, I'm glad about that.
I never have.
Yeah, OK, yeah, that's fine.
And that's unusual because I was raised as a Catholic. And,
yes, exactly.
Catholics, you're supposed to feel guilt about
everything. Of course you are, supposed to do confession all the time.
Yeah.
Now then, the guilty displeasure, what that is being in a crowd of people and they're all talking about how wonderful this is or that is or all the rest. And then you suddenly pipe up that you're actually out of step with all of them.
Yeah.
And you have an independent thought. That's a guilty displeasure.
Is it?
And so many people...
Well, why is that a guilty displeasure?
Because what you're doing is you're making it clear that you will not go with the flow.
Yeah.
And the guilty displeasure is a very brave thing to do.
Well, I tend to find that not only do I do that quite a lot, but sometimes I do it deliberately.
I mean...
Because I find, for example, when somebody becomes unpopular in social media or, a politician becomes unpopular, I find myself defending them, partly because, I'm going against the flow.
Yeah.
So sometimes I do it deliberately.
I've made myself unpopular by being emphatically strident on my guilty displeasures.
Yeah.
For instance, as a young man, I was roundly mocked by friends for saying I would never go on a stag night.
Right.
I think they're repulsive.
Yeah.
So you've
never been on one?
Never been on one.
Right.
Because to say, I've got to have one last great night as a drunken slob so that I can actually...
In some horrible lap dancing bar.
That's right. So I can face up to getting married the next day and say, sate myself of all my thoughts about that sort of activity is repulsive.
Right.
I made myself very unpopular.
You've done that in a variety of ways, haven't you?
What?
Made yourself unpopular.
Oh, no, but I'm saying made myself unpopular by being brave and speaking about guilty displeasure. So when we were all due to go on holiday one time, and I had a very good-looking girlfriend and we had friends. I'll tell you who was one of them, Colin Bell. Okay. They all would have
You're
gone...
not talking about Trudy?
No, it wasn't. No, I'd moved on then.
Okay.
It was, I don't know who it was, but it was somebody else. And
such a romantic.
Yes. And
I don't know who it was.
And everybody said, come on, let's go to the Algarve. Yeah. And I said, no, I don't go to the Algarve. And they said, why not? I said, I don't like beaches. What do you mean you don't like beaches? The beaches are full of sand.
Beaches?
Yeah, and the trouble with beaches is you get sand in your beer, you get sand in your bathing costume,
Sand in your beaches.
Sand in your sandwiches. I'm not going to any beach. Oh, where do you want to go? I said, let's go to that place in...
You like a shale beach, do you? Or a
I don't mind
beach?
a shale beach. I said, let's go to that place in Italy where Prince Charles paints all those paintings, That's nice. I can't remember what it's called now. Is it Florence or somewhere?
Well, he goes to Florence. There's no beach in Florence.
No, I didn't want to go to a beach, right? I made myself very unpopular when I say to people, we're all standing round, big celebration, oh, come on, a glass of bubbly. I don't like champagne, thank you, and I'm not drinking it, OK?
I've never seen you say that to anyone.
Have you ever seen me drink a glass of champagne?
Yeah, I have, yeah.
No, you haven't.
Yes, I have.
No, you haven't.
You drank a glass of champagne when we went to Cheltenham the other week.
I did not.
The year before.
I did not.
Yes, you did.
I do not drink champagne.
You drank it on the train.
I did not.
Yes, you did.
Well,
I
the only drink available was champagne, and I had a sip.
Drank it.
I had a sip, but I don't generally speaking.
I know it's true that you don't generally.
I don't drink champagne.
But
so I drink champagne.
You've never, in my
don't
company,
like beaches.
refused a glass of champagne.
I don't eat eggs because I think it's repulsive. I don't like stag nights.
I don't think that's particularly brave.
And I make this clear to everybody. I make it clear. For instance,
I've seen the time, by the way.
How about this? This guy rings me up, and he's the landlord of one of my local pubs down in Gosport.
Yeah.
And he says, "Oh, Mike, could you come along and support this event?" I said, "What is it?" He said, "Oh, raising money for charity. We're having a great afternoon at the pub." And I said, "And what's special about it?" He said, "Topless barmaids."
Yeah.
I said, "Are you off your rocker?" He said, "No." I said, "You're going to humiliate a load of young ladies to ask them to walk around without any clothes on just for the titillation of a load of your sneering, drunken, slobby mates."
Right.
I said, "No, not only am I not coming to that event, I won't be coming to your place again. You're not the man I thought you were. You're a repulsive...
You are a man of very high moral values.
Yeah, a repulsive little pervert.
Right.
And
what about that place? What about
don't
time
ever ring me again.
What about that time you watched the England game surrounded by topless women?
No, I didn't.
No, you did.
No,
it was a lap dancing club.
Oh, you keep going on about this. Honestly,
true.
you're a broken record. You're boring people to death.
Oh, I'm a broken
It was
record.
the only place in Soho that had a television, the entranceway, the foyer.
Yeah, but you still
to the
went
club.
there.
I stood in the foyer and watched the England game. There's nowhere else to watch
You
it.
stood at the bar and watched
Luckily, our mate Dave...
for this, but no particular
Yes,
reason. But
yes.
I know you don't particularly like that song anyway, but it might be.
No, I
there's
don't
too
actually.
many Beatles references.
That's the
already,
worst ever Beatles song
on this
that.
show. But
Yeah.
that does signal at the moment, anyway, as long as we keep it for now, that we do our listography, and we've chosen, or you've chosen, 3 reasons to be cheerful.
Yes.
Or joyful, or whatever
Yes.
it is you are. So
Yes.
you've got 3 that you'd like to pronounce?
Well, I'd like you to go first.
Why do you want me to go first all the time?
Well, I just think that sometimes I get all the advantages of going first.
Oh, okay.
But I'll go first if you want.
Well, I don't mind. I went first yesterday. I might go first
I'll
again.
go first today,
I haven't
then.
really given it much thought, to be honest.
Well, I'll
but
go
tell you
first.
what,
I'll go
tell you
first
what.
while you think.
No,
You think. Go on, you think.
No, I'll go first.
You need
I'll tell
longer to think than
one
me.
of my first reasons to be cheerful, I would say,
Right.
is that I'm off to see my mother this weekend,
Right.
and my sister and my son, who I haven't seen for a while.
Yeah, but I
and
think
I'm
we're
looking forward
talking.
to,
I think we're talking really about a more regular reason to be cheerful.
Well,
you see
no,
what I mean?
No, this is a
No?
reason to be cheerful right
All right.
now.
Okay.
Right now.
Okay.
I mean, what could be better than going off to see members of your family you haven't seen for a long time?
Okay.
And getting on a plane, which I haven't done for a while.
Okay.
And flying to New York. I mean, unfortunately, I won't be spending
Yes.
much time in the city.
Yes.
In fact, I won't be spending any time in the city.
Right.
But it'll be very pleasant. I'm looking forward to that. So that's my first reason to be cheerful.
Okay.
Why don't we go backwards and forwards? And then
Okay,
you can
sure.
give us your first reason to be cheerful.
All right. Well, one reason when I would be really cheerful, and it happens pretty rarely because it only happens every 3 or 4 years, would be if I was literally going to the premiere of the next Bond movie.
Right.
I love the Bond movies so much, and the anticipation factor about how much exciting action
you haven't seen
and
Inspector yet, have you?
No, I haven't. No, that's
Well,
what I
it's
mean.
been out for months.
Yeah, I know, but I'll get.
Why haven't you seen it?
Because I'll get the DVD, and that will be
Well,
fantastic.
the DVD's been out for months.
I know, but I'll get it. I'll actually walk in somewhere where it'll be on display, and I'll think, right, I'm having that. I'll take it home. That'll be a moment of really great joy.
Right.
Really great joy. To sit down, with maybe a glass of something, and
Should you have a martini to celebrate?
maybe,
Bond?
and just actually treat myself for a couple of hours and say, right, I'm going to close off the world and watch the new James Bond movie, Spectre. Yes, that would be great.
Okay, so
Right?
that's one of your reasons to be
Yes.
cheerful. Well, I suppose my next reason to be
Yes.
cheerful will be a very newspapery one. And at the moment, it's this rather amusing thing that's going on between these 2 stylish nationalist MPs,
Yes.
who seem to have both been, shall we say, Rogerising the same woman,
Yeah.
albeit at different times. I got
Yes.
into a little bit of a spat with one of their fellow SNP MPs yesterday.
Right.
Because people are now piling into these guys saying,
Of course.
you don't even want to run Britain. What on earth are you doing in Westminster? But apparently all you want to do
Yes.
is get involved in Rogerisation and bladderation
It's
and have a
disgraceful.
great time. And this guy actually had the gall to say to me, well, what would you rather do? Have him stay in a flat where it would cost the taxpayer more money?
Yeah.
So basically saying it's all right for him to stay in a hotel,
Well, I bet
charge loads and loads of money.
Yeah.
And so I'm just rather enjoying watching these MPs squirm.
Really?
And realising that actually, when they try and defend their
Yeah.
actions, they get roundly slaughtered, not just by people who are journalists, but by everybody.
And you
Because
take-
people think it's absolutely ridiculous.
And you do take great joy out of this, do you?
I take great joy out of watching MPs squirm, yes.
Okay, all
I
right,
do.
fine. Well, my second one would be on the rare occasion when I'm actually getting dressed up at home, right, put a
Yeah.
good suit on and all that, and I know I'm going
got a
out.
good suit.
Yes, I have. Yes, I have got loads of good suits. And I'm actually going out, and I'm going out with a select group of, my best friends, or...
Your best friends?
Yeah, my best friends.
Well, it's a very select group. There's
or,
nobody in it.
Or my close family for a lovely meal and a bladderation session. That is a moment of great joy.
Okay.
Because it's so rare you get together with those who
You realise both of your
enjoy.
moments so far have involved drinking.
Not really.
Yeah.
The Bond film is watching a film. That doesn't
you said you could have a drink, though.
Oh, that's a glass of something. That doesn't involve drinking. But, I mean, to be able to say to yourself, this is great, no work today, going out, got a great table booked in a great restaurant, going to have some great wine, great food, in great company, that to me is a reason of great joy.
OK, well, that's quite nice, actually.
Yes.
Quite nice for you.
Yes.
And my third one is going to be, again, looking forward to something, and it's going to be looking forward to our next show, which is in Dingwalls.
Right.
On June the 10th.
OK.
It's a Friday night.
Excellent.
We'll be a little bit tired because we'll have been doing the show here, I guess,
Yes.
till the early hours of the morning. But I'm very much looking forward to it, not just because it's another live show, which we love doing,
Yeah.
but because it's in such a cool place called Dingwalls, where
That's
I
right.
used to hang out very much as a teenager.
Yes.
In my manor, as people would call it.
Yes.
In Camden Town. So that's going to be brilliant. So that brings me joy as well.
So it's like the prodigal son returning almost.
A little bit, yeah.
A bit of that, OK,
With a bit more money than I used to. Because I remember when I used to go there,
Yeah.
I think I used to have to sort of ration myself to make sure
Indeed.
that when I got there, I'd have enough money to buy a drink.
Sure, it's good. OK, well, my third one will be the moment I step onto the beach at Bamborough, where I'm intending to retire to, OK?
Yeah, when are you retiring?
I haven't decided yet. No, I don't know, 3 years, 4 years, something
3
like that.
years?
3 or 4 years, yeah.
Well, don't forget to let me know.
Oh, no, I'll let you know, don't worry.
You give me a bit of notice.
I'll give you a notice, yeah. And
So I give Mike Osmond a call.
yeah, that's right, yeah, absolutely. And finally decide, that's it. I've put my life behind me, and now...
So I'm actually looking forward to that.
Well, I don't know if I am or not, really. Yeah. I've tried retirement before, and it didn't suit me. It really didn't.
See, that's what I mean. I don't
really
see you
really
in retirement mode. But you will, in fact, have found peace. If you get to that point.
Maybe
you will.
What I might do is, I may combine that life of peace and tranquility, walking along a beach in Bamborough Castle on my left, you know, and all the sort of culture of the northeast of England, which I really enjoyed when I lived there. Holy Island, yeah, all that, Lindisfarne, all that kind of stuff. I may combine that with maybe part-time work.
Oh, yeah.
I may ask some...
A bit like you do now.
Exactly. I might ask some local radio station if I can do a bit of broadcasting, might write a column for the local paper, might decide to offer my services in sort of hospitality-type terms to various organisations.
I see Mickey Quinn rather took you to task on that this morning.
What was that?
We'll talk about that in a minute.
No, he didn't.
Yeah, he did.
No, he didn't.
He did, on the Newcastle Chronicle front.
Oh, yeah, well, that's right. Well, he writes a column for them, and I used to be a hotshot reporter on it. So, you know, writing a column's easy, isn't it, compared to going out and seeking and finding the news in a challenging environment like I did.
This is Talk Sport.
The Two Mics, simulcast across the UK on Talk Sport and Talk Radio.
Finally decided to report that crime that you witnessed on the way in then.
Well, no, but it was disgraceful. This guy was trying to make out he had concussion by banging his own head on the inside of the windscreen of his car.
That's something I would expect you to do.
And then came out and did Rubber Legs impersonation. And do you know what? He flung the door of his car open, which was impeding traffic coming down the other side of the road that I was on. So I actually put my window down and said, hey, close your door.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't get past him, you know. And he said, oh, what? I said, close your door. And he reluctantly closed the door.
You should have taken a picture of him.
Yeah, I should have taken a picture, but I didn't
now,
have
before
time.
you go on, let me just read you this, because I'm slightly worried about this.
Yeah.
This is from Vin, who's one of our Albanian fans.
Oh,
right?
yes.
And he says, Porky, you better watch out, mate. The Albanians will come and drop a toaster in your bath now they know it's in your wardrobe.
That's a bit harsh,
Because you
isn't
upset
it?
them all a bit earlier on.
No, well, Albania is a great country. It's just that parts of it are still a little kind of underdeveloped.
Okay.
Yes, that's all I'm saying.
You best not say any more.
That's right. Now, that music was for The Bill.
Yes.
Now, did you ever watch The Bill?
I never did, no.
I wasn't either. I wasn't a big fan of The Bill. I
Wasn't-
don't know why. I
wasn't
thought
something
I would be, you know, because I like
I think as well,
police.
The Bill was quite a big show when I was living in America. So when I came back, it was a big thing. But I'd sort of missed out on it, really. So I never really bothered with it, you know?
There were some good characters in it early on, but then I thought it just sort of drifted away. And funnily enough, a lot of it was filmed in Stockbroker Belt, Surrey, where I hail from. Yeah, it was, all around there, sort of around Wimbledon and Merton and places like that.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, there you go. Now, the point is, I've been sent a book, and it's called Criminal, The Truth About Why People Do Bad Things.
Oh, yeah.
And what it does is it knocks down two popular theories, right?
Yeah.
The two most frequent approaches to crime are, one, that crime is the result of human wickedness, insufficiently deterred by harsh punishment, or two, that it is caused by social inequality and injustice that must be righted if it is to be reduced, OK?
Right.
Both these theories are wrong. The reason why crime happens is this, according to the guy who's written this, a guy called Tom Gash, who is
Tom Gash?
who is a criminologist, OK?
Right.
He says,
is he American or British?
Let me see.
The only reason I ask is it can be a different
that's true.
It could be a different scenario, can't it?
Yes.
Not that he shouldn't listen to what he says. He's American.
I don't actually know the answer to that one.
All right.
But anyway, he says crime is mostly opportunistic, and the best way to reduce it is to lessen the opportunities for committing crimes.
Right.
So,
I would go along with that.
Well, I'd go along with a lot of that. I mean, when a bloke murders his wife or, something like that happens, it's not usually because they've been planning for 20 years. Right. It's because it's happened on the spur of the moment.
Well, most people who get murdered are murdered by someone they know, aren't
That's
they?
right. Of course they are,
The whole random murder thing is very unusual.
He also says that, for instance, if you're walking past a house and the window's open and you're drunk and you have like a 1% criminal tendency, you might just climb through that window because it seems like a good idea at the time. And then you steal something.
But then that feeds into the argument that drink and drugs fuels quite a lot of this activity.
Well, it does, but it's about the opportunity thing. Yeah. There wouldn't be an opportunity to commit that crime if you closed the window, okay?
That's true, yeah.
Now, what the author, this guy, Tom Gash, also says is he lays to rest the myth that poverty or economic hardship is straightforwardly the cause of crime. Now, when the financial crisis of 2008 struck, there were dire predictions of increased crime motivated by raw necessity. Do you remember all these police chiefs were all saying, better get a lot more policemen on the streets, once unemployment goes up, the crime will explode. It doesn't. It goes the other way.
And it hasn't.
It goes the other way. The author reiterates what should long have been known, that the poor are the main victims of crime.
That's true.
It's not the rich, it's the poor. Burglars are not great travellers. Half of such offences were committed less than a mile from where the burglar lived.
That's another one. Whenever you get burgled, the chances are the person actually lives in your street.
Absolutely, and that is why the poor are more likely to be burgled than the rich.
Yeah.
Because people don't come from poor neighbourhoods to rich neighbourhoods to rob the houses.
Unless they're in those big sort of organised gangs where they turn up with a removal lorry.
And they drive around the M25 looking for opportunities, organised crime. But most people go through the back door of their neighbour's house and nick their stuff in there, okay?
Yeah. No, I agree with that.
And the difficulty in taking countermeasures such as buying alarms or strong doors is never properly enforced by the police.
Right.
What they're saying is that the police force, instead of just sticking around and waiting until a crime happens, then go and do something about it, should be much more proactive in stopping crime happening.
Yeah.
And the way to stop crime happening is to deny people the opportunity, okay?
Okay.
As your TV reviewer, I can reveal there are no plans for a new series.
Yeah, no, but wasn't there a previous series?
Oh, hang on, wait a minute. It says here there might be a new series. What's your problem?
That music, of course, can only signal one thing, and it is that it's time for the amazing TV review that is Porky Vision.
That's right.
Which is getting a wider and wider audience as time goes on.
It is, indeed.
So, last week we talked a lot about The Secret, I think it was.
Secret.
What do you got for us this week?
Now, I want to review a programme now, which I have never seen and I intend never to see.
Right, okay.
And it's called Wallander.
Wallander?
Wallander.
Oh, yeah, that's one of those Scandinavian shows,
It's a Scandinavian show about a cop who is played by, and this is what really gets me, guess what the name of the actor who plays the cop is?
I don't know.
Sir Kenneth Branagh.
Sir Kenneth Branagh.
Not Kenneth Branagh, not Kenneth Branagh,
right.
Sir Kenneth Branagh.
Well, you have a problem with that?
Well, it's ridiculous. It's ludicrous. Well, no actor should get a Sir, a knighthood, until he's finished acting.
What about Sir Laurence Olivier?
Yeah, well, you see, that's what ruined him. You see, people started thinking he was good. Now, Kenneth Branagh...
No, he was good.
Eh?
He was good.
Who? Sir Laurence Olivier? I thought he was rubbish.
I know you did. You've said that before, but I have to disagree with you on that.
Now, let me tell you this. Kenneth Branagh used to make a lot of Shakespearean things.
He did?
Like Othello.
He still does occasionally, I think.
Wasn't Othello. Made to Measure, I think he made, didn't he?
Well, he did the famous Agincourt movie, didn't he?
Oh, that was Henry V.
Henry V.
Yeah, but the point is, I saw him interviewed once by Sue Lawley.
Oh, yeah.
And Sue Lawley was so taken by Kenneth Branagh sitting on the couch opposite her.
Right.
She said, oh, of course, Kenneth, everybody is comparing you and saying that you are the next Laurence Olivier.
Ah.
And he then said, you mean Sir Laurence Olivier?
Yes.
Oh, no, he's Lord by then. Oh, you mean...
Is he Lord Olivier now?
Yeah, Lord Olivier.
Ah.
You mean...